Heyo, everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of the Nonsense Double Feature. My name is Jared.
And I'm Isaac.
How we doing today, my guy?
Doing good. It's been a hot minute, and
Yeah,
we've watched a lot of movies.
yeah, it's been a little while.
So,
It's been a little while. We've watched a shitload of movies in the interim, but sometimes life gets in the way of things, and you gotta go through it.
even when the podcasting stops, the movie watching does not.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible. It's beyond natural. Alrighty. So, figured we just get right into things today. We're going to start out with the recent release from Paul Thomas Anderson. That would be One Battle After Another. And this makes PTA the first director we've talked about twice on here, I believe. And not just like generally. Obviously, we've mentioned some directors multiple times, but this is the first person to have two movies on here. So,
This is true.
yeah,
This is true.
and we also this is one of the first movies we talked about on here. We talked about the trailer for this way back, and so
I should go back and listen to what I said there, because I honestly don't remember what I said.
yeah.
And that would be fun now, like being like pretty far removed from the film, because it came out a little over 2 months ago.
When the trailer came out, I was expecting actual battle scenes after another. But now that the movie is here, it's obviously it is kind of that in a sense, but they're not actual battle scenes.
Yeah.
But there's battles after the other. So we'll stop talking nonsense and we'll get into it. So, Colin, you fucking loved this movie.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So
You take it away.
I this year have really realized that Paul Thomas Anderson is my favorite director. I think when we started this podcast, I said Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director. And like, I loved both them, and I have so many favorite directors, it's like hard to pin down. But I think now, if like you ask me, I think I'd say Paul Thomas Anderson is my number one, not just from One Battle After Another, but I rewatched almost all of his films in lead up to One Battle After Another. So I've just had such a greater appreciation for them. But most importantly, I got to see There Will Be Blood in theaters, like the same week as One Battle After Another. So that, like, I think it was like I saw One Battle on like the 25th and the 27th, and then on the 30th, I saw There Will Be Blood. So I had like a long weekend of PTA in theaters, and that was brilliant. And in between that, I saw 2001 in theaters. So yeah,
you were just feasting.
We had the greatest like 4 or 5 day weekend of all time.
Nice.
Yeah. But as for the One Battle After Another itself, I am looking back at my review I wrote in late September, and the opening line I feel like kind of sums up the entire film, like how I feel about it. And I just said, a roundhouse kick to the face of a film. I think that sums it up pretty well.
That's fair.
It was so, as much as I was hyping up this film, so much of it felt so unexpected and surprising and just powerful. Like, I saw it coming a mile away, but by the time it hit me, I was dazed. Like, there's just so much more to it than I was expecting, from the performances and the actual story itself. Just the sheer insanity of the filmmaking, like how this film looks, the way the camera moves throughout it, and the fact it's all shot on VistaVision, which is really interesting, which was like, Brady Corbet kind of brought it back with The Brutalist, like made it more popular. So now some other like VistaVision films out, like I believe Bugonia was shot somewhat or all on VistaVision, and Brady Corbet's next movie is going to be on it. But the idea that we would shoot in like an older format for this kind of older style movie, but it's about the modern day, it feels shades of a lot of different films. I saw some people like describe it as like, especially the car chase at the end, like very like William Friedkin.
Definitely.
But everything in the plot is so about now and today. Like, it feels like one of, like, it's like cheesy to say, but it feels like one of the most like modern films. Like, it feels like it really has captured like not just the zeitgeist, but like it captured like the feeling of what it feels like to be living today, as even through the eye, it feels like what it feels like to be living in today as a young person, but it's by a guy who is not young anymore. Not that
And
Paul Thomas Anderson is old, but like he's not the young kid he was when he started. So the fact he still has this like young kid energy in a sense, but he brings in his, sensibilities as he's matured. It's like a perfect mixture of his more refined later films that he's made with like the insane unhingedness of his first few films.
and it's interesting because you talk about how it feels so current. Well, like I've only seen a few other PTAs, but I know if you look at the rest of his filmography too, like pretty much a lot of his other films are almost just straight up about what it was like to live back during a certain time. You know?
Yeah, he hadn't made a film set in modern day since like Punch Drunk Love in 2002. I forget what year Punch Drunk Love came out, but he had been only making period pieces for basically almost his entire century. Like he did There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread. So he hasn't done something set in the modern day in a long time. So to come in swinging with a film that is so just 2020s even is crazy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like again, I've only seen I've only seen The Master and There'll Be Blood, but The Master is just feels I don't exactly remember what decade the movie is set in, but it feels super that
It was like
decade.
the 50. It was
Yeah,
like post World War II, so like
right,
late 40s, early
right.
50s.
That's right. He was in the Navy and everything. Right. Yes, it feels super 1950s, and obviously There'll Be Blood feels just like you know super like turn of the century, and
Yeah.
like that movie is you can't mistake that movie for being what the period it was set in. But yeah, and then it's interesting how modern it feels because I think a lot of people were predicting that like he was going to find a way to somehow get around like iPhones and smartphones and stuff just because a lot of his plots in general would be throughout his filmmaking a lot of his plots would be much different if phones existed, right? So I think everyone kind of expected there to be like very little phones, but there's a shitload of actual like iPhone stuff in the
Yeah.
movie. It's and a lot of just
Like
like modern tech.
the final shot of Leo in this is him taking a selfie on an iPhone. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
literally like the end of the movie is him. He finally gets a smartphone because he's
Well,
like
he
been using analog old phones for 20 years.
and it feels like a self-insert in that sense too. Where it's like
Oh, definitely.
PTA is just this old, crusty, gray-haired guy on the couch who's doing nothing but smoking weed, and he just is discovering this stupid little rectangle in his hands every day. It's wonderful. It really is.
That's pretty, yeah. Um, I think one of the biggest highlights of this film, and I think you'll agree, and I think most people will agree, but it was very action packed, but not like overly so, but it balanced it really well with the comedy, and all of that is like perfected by the performances. Everybody is giving an incredible performance. There's not a single weak link, and everybody like stands out and gets their own time to the point where there's like even a few side characters I wish we got even more from them because I like them so much. And like even though this movie is like approaching 3 hours, I wish it was over 3 hours. Like it was so fast paced. Like I feel like we could have squeezed in some more stuff of these like other side characters, like Regina Hall's character. Like every single shot she's in is like incredible. You feel it so much, like how she feels, like the weight of like this, like the revolution on this girl's shoulders,
Yeah, yeah. Regina Hall's
but
great.
she's like not a part of it. She's like, she was born into it, but she has no like, she's no stake in the game. But like, you can feel like, he's very like maternal towards her, like very protective, like, or I guess like a, like an aunt,
She has no stake in them personally, but she at least like you could tell the revolution is really really important to her.
Yes.
Everything like that.
Like she wants to protect this girl who's like kind of like going to be very major collateral damage just from who her parents are. Like it's so good. Like I wish we got
Yeah,
more with Regina Hall's character. Like if I
yeah,
had to
she's
be like a
excellent.
minor nitpick, I'd say that, but like not that big a deal.
Yeah, no, she's excellent. The surrounding supporting cast is insane. I mean, Leo DiCaprio is excellent, but I keep thinking about Sean Penn whenever I think about that
Mm,
movie in general because he's just, I mean, he's a freak, and Sean Penn's
he's moving his mouth in ways I've never seen someone
yeah,
move their mouth before. He's
his
walking
entire
like
body, yeah,
the
the
Tin
way
Man
the
in
way
Wizard of
he
Oz.
when he's walking through that hotel, I think it is during the wedding, and he's like in the back rooms to meet those guys. For, like, are they called like the Christmas Adventurers or some
Yeah, the
bullshit?
Christmas Adventurers Club. Hail
Yeah,
Saint Nick.
this hilarious. But the way he walks through that hotel like he's got a giant stick up his ass or something is so funny. And then the way he talks
Oh
is
my god.
bizarre. The way he moves is bizarre. He's just so fucking bizarre. And the scene when they have what's her name in the like in like they have her arrested and she's living in that house like working for them, and
Oh yeah.
he's walking up with the flowers and he's just like he's got that weird walk going. It's just like what the fuck, like
Just
it's
so calmly goes to get the battering ram
yeah no and
to like break into Perfidia's
the
house.
entire time I had this thought of this think. Wow, that's Jesus. I'm talking like I'm talking like the Hulk. I'm literally the Hulk right now. Like I had a think. No, I had this thought of like he's like this performance is great, but Sean Penn is just playing himself right now. Like this, he's really not even putting that much into this in terms of like being different. This is just Sean Penn, and it's bizarre. He's the weirdest, maybe like the most biggest lunatic in Hollywood, possibly, and it's just he put it all right there on camera, and it was interesting to see.
Yeah, the entire like all like the antagonists of like the Christmas Adventurers Club
Yeah, bizarre.
was so like it hit so close to home because it's like there are absolutely people like this who are absolutely just insane and like violently racist, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are
of
the
course.
people who are rich and in power. But I love how the film is able to like poke fun at them. Like
Yeah,
those scenes are like admittedly very scary, like the way they're so bluntly talking about wanting to murder and harm people, and like they don't want people of other races in this country. But the scenes are so comedic because the way it's like shot, and like especially with the line deliveries, everyone does such a good job of like they're pointing out how absurd this mindset is. Like yes, this is real, but there's like a dark comedy to it. Like,
yeah, of course.
these people are losers. They are like making up a secret club to make themselves feel special.
Hmm.
And like they have like a secret knock. Like the secret knock to get into like the room
Yeah,
is like
and
jingle bells.
they meet in like a tunnel, this like
Yeah, like they
weird
meet in
like
a secret bunker,
yeah
like a doomsday bunker.
yeah it's
And it's
ridiculous.
like there's all these things to, like make themselves feel more powerful, because even though like they are like they have wealth, they have power, but they need to feel special as well because they're
Yeah.
so insecure.
And
It's
I'm not like cracking the vault here, but it's like Hail Saint Nick is like a syllable away from Hail Satan, right? So it's
yeah.
these they're just evil pieces of shit, like and they're just slightly like altering the Christmas Adventurers. I can't get over that name. It's just so fucking
I
stupid.
do love how they are well, not slyly, I mean that's the name of the club, but like we're pointing out the racism and just like white supremacy that like is like deep inside the idea of Christmas
Oh, of course,
like
yeah.
itself, like where it's like tied into like Christian nationalism and stuff, like how it can be portrayed as that, or it's like it's just all
Especially
commercialized and something to do with
in modern
religion.
in modern America, absolutely.
Yeah,
Of course,
like Christmas is not about the religion for a lot of people anymore,
not anymore. No.
whether they are religious or aren't.
Oh no,
It's just
Christmas
people look at it.
In the U.S. Christmas has become a national holiday for sure. It's much more than a religious holiday for a lot of people, without
Yeah,
a
like
doubt.
yeah. Like some people aren't religious. They just, people like getting gifts. People like giving gifts. People like celebrating. Like let them
And
celebrate. But then there's people who like this is the day
that's
Jesus was
the
born. But it's like he wasn't born.
that's the thing about Christmas too is it's a hard thing to yell at someone for celebrating wrong, right? So it's like it's a weird if you sound like an asshole. So it's a double edged thing there.
And the only people that are like gonna be mad about like you not feeling special about their holiday are people who celebrate Christmas. It's like people who get mad when like the bag says like Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. It's like, dude, there's other holidays happening right now, man. It's
Oh
like those are
god.
those people. Like those people would like sit at Target, they get their plastic bag and they'd be like, "This says Happy Holidays. I feel excluded. Like
Yeah.
I am discriminated
Oh, I
against." Like
can't
no,
believe
you're not.
we haven't mentioned Benicio del Toro yet.
Oh,
He's
let's just do a whole Benicio del Toro section. He's like the best side character.
he's so good. He's so good when he gets pulled over and it's like, "You had any drinks tonight?
Sensei.
A few small beers?" Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So let's get into this. So the Sensei Sergio, played wonderfully by Benicio del Toro. He is in a state of constant calm that is so funny compared with especially the scene where he's helping Leo like through the city at night, where it's like he's so calm, he has a plan, he knows what he's gonna do, and then Leo is like literally flat. Like I'm looking at our Discord right now, I sent a sped up gif of Leo crawling on the mat on the floor,
Yeah,
and like he's literally floundering like a fish, like
yeah.
he's freaking out, anxiety filled, and he's also high, like he's still high, he's having an anxiety high because
That
he's
that entire
bugging
sequence.
out.
That entire sequence is just such a masterclass. Like, not just Benicio, but and Leo are amazing too. But like that whole sequence, just the blocking and the way the set was. I don't know. I think they're just in an actual city. I can't really tell. To be entirely sure.
Or like the dojo and like Benicio's apartment, like it's
Yeah,
all so lived
I
in
couldn't
and
tell how much of
lit
that
so well.
was like a set and how much of that was just like a pre-existing building.
I would
Um,
be curious to see that. I don't
yeah,
know.
but either way,
Yeah,
the way it's all shot and strung together and edited is brilliant.
it's so good.
And then
That sequence is probably a lot longer than I think it is because I haven't watched it on digital and I'm just waiting for the 4K to release. I think it releases in like January, so like a month
yeah,
away. But I'd be curious to like check the runtime of that because I bet that scene is like 10 minutes longer than I feel like it is just because so much happens, but the
mm,
pacing is like so propulsive. You're like go go go, and it like all culminates in that scene where he's like on the phone. And he's
oh yeah,
trying to well, it starts with that and it ends with that. Leo's character just cannot remember the password. He's trying to find the rendezvous point to find out where Willa is. Like he needs to know, but he is high and he's like gotten lazy. Like like he's not invested in this revolution anymore because he's just been living life, smoking weed, watching movies, right? Like he's been chillaxing, lazy.
he's been the paranoid dad pretty much.
He's been the paranoid dad, but like he's gotten lazy in other ways.
Yeah, of course.
Like in some ways, he's like been very strict. Like you have to take this device with you, like no phones. And Will is like annoyed at him for this. But then it's like the second it's something that's like on him, he flounders and he immediately is like, "Shit, I don't remember what the password is." And he's like yelling at the dude. And I think it was very telling. Like he's supposed to be this guy, revolutionary, like fighting for justice. Like you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be like a good guy who's like accepting of like all the people who's like, like the guy on the phone is trying to help you. You're the one who's messing up because you don't know like the one thing you're supposed to remember. It's like 4 lines you have to remember. And there's like a scene where it like really shows like how old his character is in comparison to everyone else. Cause when he's at the phone outside in the day, he calls a guy on the phone the R word. And it's like, like for him, probably when he was younger, like that word wasn't as like it was still offensive, but like people said it, like it's evolved as like as English language is like always evolved. So like that word has become more what's the word like taboo, I guess. I mean, maybe that's not the best word for it, but like
I need to put that on a
like
shirt with your face. The English language is always evolving.
it is. There,
I know. I'm just saying.
if you said 6'7" 2 months ago, no one would have said
Oh
anything.
God!
Now everyone's like, "Oh, exactly." You're
Don't get me
groaning.
started.
2 months ago, that would have meant nothing. Was it 2 months ago? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
who
don't know.
knows?
You know what I mean? But like it shows like the disparity in like the generations, but also it shows like he yells at, like, that's when he's like, he starts getting more and more mad, and he kind of like snaps, and like it feels like it almost feels like maybe it was an act the whole time. Not, I don't think it was, because like by the end he obviously does care about Willa, but it's like it adds that like some contradictions to his character. I think that makes it like him a more interesting character, like how he can be kind of mean and like he is not as committed to the revolution as everyone else, because at the end of the day he's a white man. Like he is in a position where he doesn't have to fight as much for what it is. Like he's fighting for other people. Like if he didn't have his daughter, would he even be fighting at all?
That is, yeah, that's a big part of it, especially in the first act when Tiana Taylor is still present in the film. It's very obvious that it's like he is risking something, but she is risking substantially more than he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's definitely in something and he's doing something real and intense, but you know, it's kind of like it's a choice for him. Like he's just kind of out there doing something where this is like Tiana Taylor's life, and
Yeah, like he
she doesn't
has that
really have a
ability
choice.
of choice. Yeah,
And you
he
meet her whole family, and it's like she was born into it. It's not
mm-hmm,
something that's like it's not like something that she just adopted one day. It's like I think her mom says she comes from a line of revolutionaries. You know,
mm-hmm.
so it's like
I assume
it's
that would
her life.
like you could assume that like tracks back to, civil rights movement. I immediately, what I think is like the Black Panther Party
Of
and like Fred
course, yeah,
Hampton and stuff like that. And so like if you can even go, you can take that back, as far back as what's
like
the word,
like
blanking, abolitionists
yeah, yeah,
and
slave rebellions, absolutely,
yeah,
yeah,
slave rebellions. Someone like Nat Turner, who staged a slave rebellion, or like John Brown. I
yeah, of
feel
course,
like
of course.
it's not a like comparison, but it's like you can see like the inspirations taken from older American revolutionaries, and applying it to modern day, this modern time.
Of course.
And we've gotten away from Benicio, but what he does
Mm,
is he's hiding illegal immigrants to like help them enter the country, because they're in like a border town, because they're in Southern California, because PTA loves his Southern California. And he describes himself as what I forget what he described himself as, like a he compares himself to Harriet Tubman, but I forget the line he said. It's like
yeah,
a
right. Yeah,
like he
forgetting
doesn't
as
say
well.
immigrant Harriet Tubman. Immigrant Harriet Tubman. He doesn't say that, but it's like something
Dublin.
along those lines. Tubman, yeah, Tubman. But like you can see it, like, and that's like in the background of that scene. Like that is, this is all like, there's so many moving parts behind the scenes of that whole chase scene through the city that like we aren't exactly privy to in all sense of the word, where we just kind of like, we're just kind of thrust into it, like how Leo is, and you just like, there's no time to like adjust what you're seeing. It's like, oh, he's got like a secret back room, and he's got all these people back there, and he's like, hey, we got to move. Like he wants to make sure everyone gets out safely, because obviously there's gonna be a lot of cops and SWAT and FBI and like all the people coming to this town now of Bacton Cross. Yeah, no, Benicio's so good. He like even has
Yeah,
like a contingency plan to save him when I'm blanking on Leo's name. I don't know. Bob.
I
Dear
forget like
God, Bob.
I forget like
How did
everyone's
I
name.
forget Bob?
I
Yeah,
remember Willa, and that's it.
but when Bob is running with the skateboarders on the roof, he falls in between the building, like down a tree, and he gets caught. But since the sensei has a contingency, like he gets him out of the hospital, he's got people inside the hospital because he has so many connections. Because he has this like underground railroad thing going on, So there's just a lot, like especially today with like I'm struggling with words today, but like
It's
there's a
okay.
lot more publicity around ICE right
Oh yeah.
now
Oh,
and
of course. Yeah.
deportations. But like even though like the deportation numbers are like pretty similar to what they were under the last
That was.
administration, it's just way more
Oh yeah.
publicized,
Yeah.
and it's way more like the rhetoric has changed to be far more racist than it was before, even if it already was
And
before, because like the
by
systems in place, like this has been
I
in
was
production.
it was pretty stunning watching it, thinking like how insanely relevant it was. There's
Like he didn't predict
like
this. This has just been happening. It just
yeah.
was under the rug for now. It's like being brought up into public light
Right.
with like
Right.
swaths of like racist rhetoric, but it's been a thing.
Right. No, it's always been a thing, but like you mentioned, how it's so public and big right now with this, it's getting so much media coverage. It did kind of blow my mind. Like I felt like I was watching like a parallel of the real world. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I
Um,
just love how much like how grace the film gives to Sensei and every one of his
Well,
family and like what he's doing.
he disappears for a while. Like he disappears into that hole in the ground, and he with the Viva la Revolucion holds his fist up in the air, and I love that scene. But
That's
and then
good.
he disappears into the hole in the ground, and then we don't see him again for a while. But then we see him in the car, and they're driving
Yeah,
in
because
the
he had
car.
this whole contingency.
Yeah, they're driving in the car together, and that scene is. I don't know if you've seen Up in Smoke, the first Cheech and Chong film.
I haven't seen any Cheech
So
and Chong film.
so that is like straight out of Up in Smoke. Their whole dynamic right there, where
Okay.
Leo is Cheech, and he's high as shit and terrified of the police, and Benicio del Toro is Tommy Chong, and he's just sitting there, cool as a fucking cucumber, just relaxed, and it's like their dynamic is so perfect, it's so fucking funny, and it's that exact blueprint, and I love that scene. And then when he has Leo just dive out the side as they turn the corner, and then you see him later on getting pulled over, and they ask him if he had anything to drink tonight, and he's like, "Yeah, a few small beers." And it's like, what the fuck are small beers? There's
He
all
was having Modelo.
yeah,
He
like
was
there's
having
yeah.
Modelo.
He's had those little Modelo bottles. Yeah, like there's two sizes of beer, bro. What the hell are we talking about? A few small beers. Like, that scene made me crack
He
up.
wasn't he wasn't like slinging the 40s or anything, but like he
No, of course
cans of
not.
beers. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Hey, this whole movie, there's multiple references to drinking and driving and how good the main characters are at it. I just want to put this out there.
It's true.
Even though these people are portrayed as good people, don't drink and drive ever. I don't care if you're
Yeah.
good at it. Just
Yeah.
don't. I don't know.
Classic.
I don't know.
Anyway, that brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Thank you.
Yes, brought to you by Uber as well. Actually,
So,
if you're drinking, just call an Uber. That's what it's for.
let's have a brief little conversation about the third act of this movie, because the third act
Okay,
is
yeah.
fucking awesome.
We have to say the third act for its own thing.
And once Willa has been captured by Sean Penn.
Can we talk about Willa first? Actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
Chase Infinity, what a performance!
Yeah,
Her
excellent.
first like feature film. I think she was in like an app show with Jake Gyllenhaal before this.
I've never heard of her, so yeah.
Yeah, like she is new on the scene. I mean, like I had said earlier, like everyone gets, and everyone does, but like arguably, I could say that Chase Infinity gives the best performance in this movie, and I say arguably. There's so many, but like
sure, yeah.
probably does, which is crazy. At the very least, she's holding her own with Sean Penn and Leonardo DiCaprio and Regina Hall, all incredible actors, and like stuff she does with her eyes is so good. Like just the look of disgust whenever she looks at Lockjaw when she's like captured by him.
When they're in the church
and
together.
like,
yeah.
oh my god. And like I think a lot of the best portions of her performance are in the third act, which is why I think it kind of it ties together a bit. But like where after she like Bob catches up to them at the church. Like he hasn't like gotten her yet, but like he's caught up to where she is, and he's like sniping at them over the hill, and you know he's like taking fire back. And as she escapes, she's like zip tied in the car, like freaking out, and then she gets taken out into the middle of the desert with this like assassin guy who is like, I don't do kids. Like, I'm not gonna kill her. And you immediately see Lockjaw. He's like just starts freaking out, but then she gets out of the car, and this whole like little chase. It's like I don't know. It's like you can see she doesn't have a plan, because it's like, what was her plan gonna be? Like, there's like she has so few options.
Oh yeah,
like you can see her like with every single second, every frame she's in, like you see like the desperation, but also like the like deliberation. It's like she's not freaking out like how Bob was. Like she's not freaking out in the same way. Like she's determined and she's like confident in what she's doing, like while still being scared. She's like harnessing her fear, whereas Bob is just like freaking out. Like he locks in the end, but like he is really flounder. I keep saying floundering, but that's just the best word for it. He's like floundering, where Willa, like she's concentrated, she knows what she needs to do, partially because her dad's training, but partially I just feel like her like instincts kicked in, and she's like has that like revolutionary instinct. Really, she knows
she is her
not
mom's
just that
daughter.
she has to. Yeah, she's her mom's daughter. She knows that not fight back, but she knows how to fight back. And like the whole scene when she gets dropped off at the house by like the assassin guy or like the kidnapper guy. I don't know. I forget what his.
I think he's just a hitman.
The hitman. Let's call him the hitman.
Yeah.
But he drops her off at this like crazy house. Like we don't get to see inside the house. We just see one guy outside who's like wearing like a bulletproof vest and is tatted up and has like the ugliest haircut beard combo I've ever seen. And you can see like the hitman like feeling bad that he's doing this because he's like, I'm not gonna kill her, but I'll like get her to someone who will be willing to.
And they were calling him slurs the whole time too.
Yeah, and they were calling him slurs because I think it was played by a Native American actor.
Yeah, no, he's Native American.
Native American. Yeah. He delivers her there, but then Willa gets off on her own. You know, she gets the gun after the hitman comes in and starts shooting up the place because he is like he's had his last straw. I'm done dealing with these like evil people.
Pretty much. And
like everyone's already dead, but then she gets in the car, and that's when this like third act climax takes place, where it's all these. I say all these. It's 3 cars all chasing after each other on long stretches of hilly road somewhere in Southern California. I forget exactly where it was. They just like were driving one day, I think they said, to like the house, and they just like saw this road or something, and they were like, "That's perfect," because of the hills. And like the fact that they like location scouted that while already having the script done, like the fact that they found a road and the way they shot it, where it ties back to ocean waves, like it feels like you're flowing. Like it feels like you're in the middle of the desert and you feel like you're like riding a wave of water. It's so good.
Yeah, the way that whole sequence is shot and edited is pretty brilliant.
Oh my god. Like the way the camera would be like fixated on one point, so it would like the focus would change to like the road, and like the sound design where you just like hear like that asphalt churning under cars, because you have Willa's like, I think she was in like a Dodge Charger or something. It's like that, you know, that's a powerful car. And then the Christmas Adventurers guy who got sent out in his like blue car or whatever, also is pretty powerful. And then you have Bob tooting along in a car that he stole off the side of the road. It's like, you know,
a piece of shit.
Maybe, yeah, like kind of car, you know, and he's doing his best. He's catching up. But like the entire chase scene, you have Willa outrunning this crazy assassin, and you have Bob trying to catch her, trying to save her. But everything that occurs and the reason it goes well is because of Willa. Like she's the one who's level-headed. She's the one who comes up with a plan. She like crests a big hill and like she's like just out of view, but then she like slams on the brakes, so like she leaves the car there and she like ducks behind cover with her pistol. So then by the time a guy comes over the hill, he has no time to stop because she's like right at the top of the hill, like just out of the line of vision because it's like such a tall hill. He like slams into her, which is like they definitely crashed the car. And like what a brutal crash. Like it's not like it was like the car flipping, but like just like headlong rear-ending that car, like it crunches. Like the car crunches in such a way. It was like, like made my chest tighten up. I was like, like that's so bad. And like she's ready and waiting for him. Like she shoots him. Like she kills him. Like she's dealt with the problem before Bob even gets there. And then Bob pulls up, and like the whole scene, like the whole movie comes together in that scene where Bob pulls up, and like Chase Infinity's performance is so good in that. That's the best scene of her, where she sees Bob come around the corner, but she's now since learned that like he may not be her father, and like she now doesn't know like was he in on it, like is he even someone who can be trusted. Like her entire life is just has completely unraveled at this point. Like she doesn't know where her mom is. Her dad, who raised her, may not even be her dad and may be one of these evil guys. And she screams, "Who are you?" And at that point, I was just like, it broke me. It was like, oh my God. And he doesn't know what she knows, I assume. I mean, maybe he knows he's not father. It's never made clear. And also, I think I saw a theory that like the way Lockjaw did the DNA test, like maybe he like messed it up. Like not that it like by chance could have messed up, but like he like followed the steps wrong. So like it may not be accurate. So it's like it's left ambiguous to that, where, you know, it's definitely implied that Bob isn't her father. And I think like depending on how you interpret that, it could change like how you feel about the story. Not that it would be like positive or negative, but it's like, different interpretations, I guess. But when he's just like, it's me, Willa, it's your dad, and he has the trust device that's like the two tunes that each one makes like sync up together when they're close, and like the way it weaves into the score of that scene, and he's just like so happy, he like puts down the gun, but then she's still like making him do more passcodes. She has to be sure because like she doesn't know. Like he's like put his gun down. He's like, it's me, Willa, it's your dad. She's like, I forget what she says, like something Los Angeles and Hooterville Junction or something.
Yeah. Whatever their stupid thing was.
And he remembered that passcode. And I think that's very telling that the one he does remember is the one that's like, I'm friendly. Like he doesn't remember the password.
It's with her.
The rendezvous. Yeah, but it's with her. And here, the one he does remember is with her, which is the one that Regina Hall's character says to her, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's like he remembers that one.
Did you?
And the fact that that one is so good.
I'm sure you read the book, but if you didn't read the book, but you did, pretending you didn't read the book, was there any part of you that thought maybe PTA was going to go for a change and have a cheesy little Tiana Taylor reunion scene at the end?
Do you mean Vineland?
Sure.
Yeah, I did not read that. I did not read the book.
So you
I
didn't
didn't
read
have time. I didn't read the book because I was in the middle of I finished a gigantic fantasy series, and then I immediately jumped into the other giant fantasy series I was in the middle of, and I'm still in the middle of it. So I've just been focused on that, and I was like, I didn't want to stop because I was like too locked in on that. So I didn't read Vineland, but it is like, once I'm done with that big series, I probably will read it.
Was part of you hoping or wondering if we were going to get a cheesy Tiana Taylor like Mexico border reunion scene?
I was really wondering that because the last time we do see her in the movie is at the act where she crosses the border and that's it. So we don't know what happened to her, but obviously we know at some point in Mexico, or I mean, maybe it wasn't in Mexico now that I think about it, but she's left a letter for Willa.
Yeah.
And Bob has had it for a while. Like I assume he's had it for a while, but I also kind of assumed that it was like it was after she left. Like it was after she left to Mexico.
Yeah. I'm assuming she's just chilling in Mexico somewhere.
Yeah, I like to think that she's alive helping. For all we know, she could be a part of this like immigrant underground railroad thing. Like she could be like one of the first stops, like helping people cross the border.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
And then like Sergio like harbors them. Well, like we don't know. Like that's like I've got no evidence for that. But like knowing her, it's like it's possible. But like maybe she like doesn't feel worthy of that life of like a revolutionary anymore since she like it was a rat. Like she was forced to be like I don't blame her. But like maybe she doesn't feel worthy of that. So it's like it's all totally speculation. But it's like who knows? But the letter.
Yes. She
leaves this letter, and I was wondering when it happened. I was like, okay, so we're not gonna see her, which I was totally fine with because I feel like it makes it more interesting. There's like she's still like there's still stuff that's like we don't need to know. Like it's left unanswered because Willa is left unanswered about it. We know as much as Willa knows. Which makes it more interesting in my mind because like even though we follow Bob's character in the movie, I feel like the focal point of the movie is Willa.
Yeah, for sure.
Like she's a co-lead with Leo, but I would argue it's her movie, just told from Bob's perspective somewhat. Like it's her movie definitively, I would even say. So the fact that we know as much as she knows, I think really adds to it. But like she is like, I wonder what you're like. Like she never met her really, only as like an infant. I wonder what you're like. I wonder what you're doing, and I wonder if you will like continue the fight that I couldn't finish. Like I couldn't solve it.
For sure.
Will you continue? And then we see her at the end. And she does continue the fight. Like she's on the like AM radio or whatever.
Yeah.
She is driving 3.5 hours to go to some protest to help, and Bob says to her like, "Hey, be careful," and she's like, "I won't." I think like she's like definitely a part of this. Like it's like the passing of the baton, passing of this revolution from one generation to another.
All right, so let's move on to our next segment here for our past movie pick, and that would be a choice from one of my favorite directors, so we're going from one of Colum's favorites to one of my favorites, and that would
Let me do
be
it.
The Killer by the great John Woo of Hong Kong
Woo!
action fame.
The
I
'89 version, to be fair.
Of course, he did recently remake. He did recently remake this movie for Peacock. It's actually not a terrible movie, but it's not as good
I'm
as this.
curious about that one now. Yeah,
It's not bad. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just it's a lot. It's digital, and the effects are much more digital. Everything's more digital,
that sounds
and
interesting.
there's less. There's just less plot. I think it's a little bit more thin, but
Hmm.
it's a good movie. Um, anyway, back to the Killer of 1989 fame.
Hmm.
So this movie fucking rules. I
Speaking of insanely good movies,
Yeah, we both watched it yesterday. I've seen it once before in the past, but I rewatched it last night because I got it on 4K. Because if you don't know, a bunch of John Woo's old Hong Kong films are finally coming out on Blu-ray and 4K after a decade of just sitting with some. I think like 2 decades of like sitting with some company in Hong Kong who refused to sell the rights for anything but a certain price, and they finally got the price from Shout Factory, and so here we are. Boom. So when I first saw The Killer, like 2 years ago now, I watched it on DVD, and even on DVD, this movie looks pretty great. Um, but seeing it on 4K was just like the only thing I can compare it to is if you wear glasses or you wear contacts or something, um, the way you were before you got glasses, and then the day you get the glasses, and you're like, holy shit, life is in HD now. That's what watching The Killer in 4K was like. It was like, oh, life is in HD now. This is beautiful. Like, this movie from the opening bit is
oh,
gorgeous.
it's so good.
Like that opening shot from the skyline, and it just says The Killer in letters. It's so great. But then it comes down to that church, and the church is so well lit. You know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
It's like abandoned that church, but it looks so good, and they both got those Chow Yun Fat, and I'm forgetting the other actor's name. I apologize, but they both had those suits on with those little top hats, and they just look so well dressed and so elegant, and that's the best way to describe this movie. It's an elegant action film, you know?
I use the word romantic and majestic.
Yeah, yeah, and very poetic.
Yeah, I
It's
think I also said poetic somewhere.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so awesome. And like he leaves the church, and then he has this like he's told by his boss, or like his basically his go between, between the big guys in the mob and him. He's just the killer, of course, as the movie is titled.
Of
But he's
course.
told he's told he's got to kill this one guy who's chilling at a club, and he goes to the club. That's when we're introduced to Jenny, who is the singer. And Jenny, who you know what? I'm forgetting her name, the actress's name, but I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to Google it. Her name is
Sally
Sally
Ye.
Sally Ye. Yep, Sally Ye is excellent in this movie. Her face acting is so good.
Oh,
But we're
yeah.
introduced to her, and the way Chow Yun Fat just kind of glides his way across this club as she's singing beautifully. He makes his way into this little back room, and he just takes out a fucking Beretta and just jams it in a guy's stomach and just unloads. The way he just casually curls the pistol around the corner. Oh, oh God. I
So good.
it was 3 years earlier in a film called A Better Tomorrow where John Woo first really introduced gun fu to us all.
I still need to see that one.
Oh, well, yeah, you got it. But the gun fu in the opening scene of The Killer is just beautiful. He curls that pistol around the corner, makes his way into the room, and then he dives backwards like Neo in The Matrix with his two guns up, and you're like, oh, okay, so the Wachowskis love this scene. He dives
Yeah.
backwards, shoots everyone in sight, and then he turns around and kills his guy and shoots him right in the head. You know what I love about this movie? How
Everything.
there's of course, but every assassination has a shot to the head and then follow up shots to the body. Totally
Yeah.
unnecessary. The headshot is killing them. Like that is taking them out, but he's just like, fuck it. I want more blood, so I'm gonna shoot them in the fucking chest now. And that's what he does. He just turns around, spins around with the one pistol right to the head, brings in the other pistol into the body for two shots, and it's like we said, it's so elegant and poetic. It's like he's dancing. Really, Chow
Yeah,
Yun
no,
Fat is dancing with handguns in his hand.
he's dancing with handguns. You can definitely see like the inspiration it's had on the John Wick films, where it's like
Absolutely.
the action doesn't feel as uh
Stiff, you know.
stiff. Yeah, like it feels like it's flowing, like
Yeah,
it's like ballet. It's
absolutely. Absolutely.
ballet of blood.
Really, it really is. It's like John Woo, he looked at all around him in his culture was surrounded by kung fu films, since the 60s with Bruce Lee and all the Sammo Hung in the 80s, all these great actors and these amazing martial artists who were doing insane stunts, just death-defying shit in these movies. He just looked at these great kung fu films and said, what if we put guns in their hands? But they kept moving like that. All the crazy big moves, we let them keep doing that, but we just put pistols in their hands. And
I think
that's
there's
what you
also
get with the
like,
killer.
oh yeah, absolutely. I
It's
think there's also
beautiful.
like, there's like a there's some form of it where it also feels like it's pulling from like older Chinese action films, like wuxia films, which are all like historical, typically set in ancient China, where they have swords, but they are like it also feels way more elegant. But in wuxia films, like people are just like can just fly,
Right,
like,
right.
and I don't mean like they're like jumping tall, like I mean they literally just fly, but they act like they don't have superpowers. It's not that extreme. I would be curious to see something that went to that extreme with guns. I think that'd be awesome if that exists. But it feels part of that where it's like very heightened. Like obviously this is not ever how anyone would fight, but it doesn't matter because it looks awesome and it's
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know if I've mentioned it before on previous episodes, but I know you and I have spoken about it before. How a lot of times when John Woo is showing an impact shot, he'll show it from multiple angles and he'll cut it like 3 times so the
Oh
impact
yeah,
shot feels bigger. And there's a ton of that in The Killer. Um,
so much of that in the killer.
so much of that. There's so much of that. Um, and then later in that sequence we're talking about, he blinds Jenny, and that's when that's the vehicle for the whole movie right there. Is Jenny is blinded, and he immediately feels this guilt because even though he's a killer, he's still a human. He feels this incredible, overwhelming guilt for her, and he says, she's a civilian, and I ruined her life. And then he goes home with her, I think, like 2 nights later, something like that, and he realizes that not only did he, ruin a great career, he ruined this woman who was I think she was like a ping pong player, I'm sorry, a tennis player. She's a great tennis player, and hey, listen, ping pong is big in Hong
Marty
Kong, all
Supreme,
right?
Marty Supreme, Marty Supreme.
Ping pong is big in Hong Kong, all right? So I'm allowed to miss that
This is true.
one. But, like, he just realizes all the things he's done, and he's this is when he decides that he has to get out. That he's ruined a life and he needs to move on. But then, so that's when he gets ready for the next big hill. The hill. Oh my god. The next big kill. I mixed kill and hit. I apologize. The next big kill when he has to take out this politician. I think the guy is. Um,
Yeah,
and he has to go. And he just decides he's going to snipe the guy in public on a boat. And this sequence with the sniper, when he just like he's sitting on the boat watching this little festival go on, and he's just this big ass, like it looks like a 30-foot speedboat. It must be something like that big. And he just pulls out this gigantic sniper, like the size of a guy's body, like just rests it on his
so good.
arm, and it's just like pulls it right up, and again shoots the guy in the head, and then 2 shots to the body.
Like this guy is never. Nobody's ever been more dead than that guy.
No
Be
one
like,
has
nah, I gotta
ever
shoot
been
him two
more
more
dead.
times.
Yep, and he's like, "Fuck it, 2 more shots," and he hits
Because
them
what?
both times. And I love how the guy goes down, and the only ones who really notice are his handlers, and everyone else is just kind of oblivious to it because
Yeah,
he shot him right when the drums were going off in the ceremony, so no one actually realized what happened to him.
it's
And
so
and
cool.
that commences, I think, what is like it must be like 15 to 20 minutes of non-stop action where
Yeah, I think
they
so.
hop on the speedboat and they do this big awesome speedboat chase that is just so well shot. You can tell they shot it like 4 times. Where like there was one where the camera guy was up in the helicopter, one where he's on each boat. Another time they shot it where they're on a different boat so they can get both of them at the same time. It's immaculate the way it's all shot. And then Chow Yun Fat pulls up onto a beach, and you're thinking like, oh, it's about all right, fine. That was a badass sequence. Awesome. And he's walking up this little girl who's smiling at him, and they're like about to have a little nice little moment. And then all of a sudden, the little girl looks off to the side, and there's a little weird reflection off in the distance. And Chow Yun Fat sees he's about to be fucking shot by the guys who hired him. And they're fucking going to take him out, and the action sequence picks up right again, and right then we're right back to fucking 10 from 0. And it's like we're just back into a crazy whole badass action sequence where there's all these bullets flying and more gun fu is happening. There's explosions. Another speedboat pulls up. Cars are pulling up, and it's just like, where the fuck am I? I thought we were taking a break here for a minute. It's like it gives you no breaks whatsoever from that moment on.
Literally nonstop.
It's nonstop. Like from there on, I think there's a few more sequences where it's like they have conversations, but I think it must be like 80% of this movie there's a gun out. You know,
Yeah,
there's a gun on the screen.
Any conversation that happens, it's because someone's got a gun pointed at them, or they both have guns pointed at each other, and then that's when they talk. There's like 3 scenes where they're talking where they don't have a gun pointed at each other's face.
Yep. And at this point in the movie, the assassins. Well, not the assassins, the mob, they want the killer dead because at this point he's revealed his identity. When he made this very big public killing on the sniper on the boat, they want him dead. So now we have our other main character, Sai B, or Little B, as he's called, played by the great Danny Lee. Danny Lee is basically kind of putting 2 and 2 together here about who this guy is, where he hangs out, stuff like that. So he introduces himself to Jenny, and he gets in there, and he gets in that whole part of things, and then he goes and hangs out in their apartment, and then boom, guess who comes home is Ah Jong himself, Chow Yun Fat, and when he opens the door, and they immediately have handguns in their faces.
Yeah, just like
instantly. The door opens, and the handguns are out, and they're face to face with the guns at each other.
It's like they have spider sense.
It really is like that. And the way the guns are angled is that they're just pointed a little bit downward. Just makes it look so cool, like they have the intent to just fucking murder each other. But then, right from there, starts the funniest sequence of the entire movie, where Jenny comes in, and Jenny is blind, so she can't tell that they're both pointing guns at each other, and they're talking casually, saying like they're childhood friends. And he says, "Oh, this is Little B. I know him." And he goes, "Ah, yes, Shrimp Head."
That's the quote I used on my letterbox.
I know,
Shrimp Head.
I know you love that line when he calls him Shrimp Head.
That's so funny. And because then when it calls back to it at the end, it's like, oh god, it's good.
Just keeps calling him Shrimp Head the entire time. So you don't even know my real name. He's like, "Yeah, Shrimp Head's fine."
By the time it ends, it's like he's still just saying Shrimp Head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my god, I love this movie so much.
It's so good.
I've been rambling about the plot nonstop, and I'm gonna keep going if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. Almost to the end. Let's go through it all.
Yeah, let's go through it all. So, at that point, though, they start to just become friends. You know, like they're like they know that they're each other's targets. Obviously, a cop has to take out the killer, and the killer has to avoid the cop. But they just can't help but realize how similar they are to each other, and how they both care for Jenny, and how ultimately their missions just overlap. And at this point in time is when John Woo really begins a thing he's really big on is that cops and killers and cops and criminals are not very different. They're pretty similar dudes. The only real difference is one has a badge, you know? That's a big theme for John Woo, and the killer really expands on it. Well, not the killer, I'm sorry. The killer goes on it, but then Hard Boiled expands on it more, is what I meant to say. So at this point in the movie, they're gonna, like, Ah Jong is gonna escape, but with Jenny, and he's like, "We gotta get the hell out of here." And so he goes to basically get the money and kill his go-between. Because his go-between has been fucking him around the whole time, because the go-between isn't really doing enough to actually stop the mob guys wanting to kill him. That's subjective, probably. The go-between, maybe he's pretty much doing all he can, really, if you think about it. But either way, he's going to get the money, and that is when we begin another crazy shootout, where there's just guns flying everywhere, and then shortly after that, the go-between gives him like 50 guns, like just a bag full of like machine guns and pistols and all kinds of crazy shit. It's like a John Woo. My God, of course it's a John Woo. It's like in John Wick when he goes to the little like gun stores, in the Continental.
Yeah, he just gets like a whole ass arsenal.
Yeah, just the whole arsenal. He's ready to go. And I watched the movie last night, but I'm forgetting exactly how they end up at the church. But either way, they
They
end
drive there.
right. They end
Okay,
up
I don't remember either.
right. Yeah, no, whatever. We're having a good time. We're wheeling and dealing.
So they get to the church.
They get to the church, and once we're at the church is when we begin the coolest action sequence of John Woo's career up to this point. If you've seen About It Tomorrow was pretty excellent, but the final shootout in The Killer is just absolutely breathtaking.
It's phenomenal.
The way it's all shot and lit is, for one thing, amazing. But then you just have maybe it's tough because with Hard Boiled that came out a few years later, but at that point in history, probably the most well done and most dedicated gun practical effects ever. At that point in
Yeah,
history,
the hard boiled.
like
I'm thinking about hard boiled now. I think hard boiled blows it out of the wall.
right,
That's
that's a few years later. That's a few years later for sure. But up to that point in '89, I think The Killer probably had the craziest practical gun effects in the world of any film.
Probably true. I
You
can't
know,
think of anything that stands out of my.
yeah, and you think about it, it's coming off the entire '80s decade, and the '80s was practically just like bullets,
Oh yeah.
for an entire decade. But in this movie, the way the effects are going, every time the shotgun fires, it's like you would think a bomb is going off. Like he's firing grenades that blow up on contact.
Yeah, it's he is literally firing sticks of dynamite.
It's awesome. It is so
Blows,
awesome.
whether it's someone's chest or like there are a couple times where they are shooting at like barrels of like gasoline that do explode, but he'll just like shoot somebody and like sparks will come out of their chest along with blood, where it's like he shot like an incendiary round. But
Yeah.
obviously it's just a shotgun shot. It's just so freaking cool.
Yeah. And needless to say, at this entire point of the movie, it's of course if you're watching in the 4K, which you need to see it in 4K, the movie just looks so breathtaking. Because
It's so
the movie
good.
the lighting in this movie is crazy. There's a lot of cool neon colors, a lot of reds, a lot of purples, and it looks cool. A lot of blues. And there's the
Oh yeah, the
scene.
blues. Oh,
We go back a little bit. There's the scene when he's talking on the phone, and he's looking out at the water, and the boat's riding by. It just looks magnificent. It looks so magnificent. The way the blue water is coming up and the sky is like mixing in with it, so like you're just looking at this big blue sheen right before Chow Yun Fat's silhouette, and he's wearing this nice brown suit. It's just oh god, it's just beautiful. I'm not smart enough to talk about photography in like a very technical way because I don't know enough about photography. But I know what looks fucking beautiful, and that movie looks fucking beautiful, man.
my eyeballs were happy. I know
Yep,
that much.
absolutely, absolutely.
I think where this one stands out is like there's a lot more. I mean, it feels very similar. So okay, so let's just back it up a second. I for the first time in October, maybe, or was it early November? Might have been early November. I don't know. Within the last few weeks, I watched for the first time Hard Boiled, and then last night I watched Killer. And since I had just watched The Killer, I was like, "That's The Killer," because you had watched it, and I watched them both on Criterion Channel,
Yep.
which is playing the 4K versions. It's not true 4K because it's streaming it, but it's like it's that restoration, so it's that color,
Yep.
and it's that like it was definitely absolutely like the detail was incredible. And I also watched like Police Story as well. It's like all these like Hong Kong films that like look incredible, whether they're from the Criterion remaster or the Shout Factory ones, and the differences between Hard Boiled and The Killer are like pretty pronounced. Like Hard Boiled is a lot more like I guess like dirty, like stuff is like getting on the lens, like stuff is like blowing up in your face, and it's like there's a lot of like run and gun. This one is a lot more like clean and elegant, and that is so telling in the final battle where it's at a church, like all the candles are lit, but then every explosion is like perfectly placed in the frame that it just like it feels so satisfying.
And
then like the doves, the John Woo doves, and of course they're at the church, and it's like there's like a shot that's like he's like looking at like the statue. I think it was a statue of Mary or something,
Right.
and it's like just like a close up shot of like Mary's face, and then it's like cuts to Chow Yun Fat's face, and I was like, oh, it's so good. It's shot so warmly, where like the hospital scene is shot very like cold, clinical, where this one it just feels like warm, like a safe place, which is why it is so like destructive. It feels clearly the hospital scene in Hardboiled is more destructive, but it feels more destructive because it's like destroying like the sanctity of this place and like
Yep.
the homeliness and the safe vibes of it. So it kind of just like feels more destructive,
Yeah.
and it's like it like really adds to the tragedy of it all because I think the story of the kid more tragic
Well,
than
and
in
it's
Hard.
it's funny that you're bringing up the hard-boiled comparisons because the killer does also have a hospital sequence, but it's much
It does
quicker
have a
and
hospital
shorter,
scene.
and that the hospital in the killer feels a little bit more like of like a like a special like safe clean place, you know.
Yeah.
Where like it's that sequence when he brings the little girl in after she's been shot and he's laying on the bed and the two cops come in, they're looking for him, and Danny Lee doing his super badass little stances every time,
Oh
like
yeah.
where he'll turn the corner and pop the pistol out and plant his feet. He just looks
So
awesome,
good.
looks so good. And then all of a sudden, Chow just appears behind the other detective with the gun right at the back of his head. And that sequence, it feels like they're in the church in that scene. You know,
Yeah,
it's the same exact
that makes
feeling.
sense. Yeah, yeah. I think also like my very limited experience in John films now, just being at least it's Hong Kong films being Hard Boiled and the Killer that I've seen. I need to see The Better Tomorrow. I need to see Bullet to the Head. I need to see more stuff. Obviously,
Once a
still haven't even
Thief.
seen Face Off. Once a Thief, but at least in The Killer and Hard Boiled, I really loved this like through line of like there's an air of respect um between the people who want to kill each other. Like, you know, him and Lil B, they don't shoot each other in Jenny's apartment. Like they could easily just deal with it, but they're like they don't want to bring that violence. Like she doesn't they don't want to involve her. And like I think in the apartment scene, like she thinks she shoots him because she like has the gun pointed at his face. Like, no, I'm not doing it until he leaves. Then he like stands out of the way and she like thinks she killed him for a second. And she's like crying and freaking out. And it's like you can see how bad they both feel despite like being like opposing. Like they need to kill each other. Like they need to bring each other in or kill each other. But they both have this like, you know, the empathy towards Jenny. But there's just like the air of respect between everybody, even the enemies, like in the hospital scene, they're like, wait, you know, like, hey, truce. Like you're still pointing at each other. We will shoot. We will shoot. We absolutely will if you mess up. But they're both like, but we'll keep it cool. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we don't want because like you just saved a little girl, like we'll let the get her treatment that she needs. Like there's a shot I thought was so good. It's all like the drapes are on in like that area of the hospital. But then they open up the drapes for the one where the girl's at because Chow Yun Fat's character wants to make sure she's okay. She's like waiting to come back to life. And like she regains consciousness while they're pointing guns at each other. But there's a shot from like behind all the doctors and there's like the dividers. So like the shot is literally split into like rule of thirds, like literally rule of thirds, where the middle is the doctors, but the way it's angled is like you can't see the drapes on either side, like perpendicular to the doctors, but then you see the opening of the other two, like the stalls next to that are empty, and you can see Chow Yun Fat and Lil B pointing their guns at each other with, you know, Chow Yun Fat has like the gun to the guy's head. And it's like that shot from behind I was like, oh, it's so good. It's
so good.
like
It's so good.
John Woo's framing is so good. He knows exactly
Oh,
where to move the camera
dude.
and is perfectly in tandem with the choreography. But even in scenes that don't require like insane levels of preparation and blocking and stuff, it's just like a scene in an apartment or like where they're just standing still pointing guns at each other. He knows exactly where to place the camera and he knows exactly what to do to make it look good.
His framing with handguns is something special.
It's so good.
Something special.
So good.
He
like I think you said earlier, they're
so cool.
I don't think I noticed it, but when you pointed it out, I mean, I'm gonna trust you on this. But you said they like had the guns pointed a little lower than they should be because it looks better in the frame.
Yeah. Well, and
like it just looks better for the shot.
There's a scene in Mission Impossible 2. We're going to Mission Impossible here, where I've
seen that one.
where of course you have, where Ethan Hawke just runs through a room. Oh my, I'm so sorry, Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hawke is a real person.
He is. Yeah. Where Ethan Hunt just runs through a room, and as he's running through, he takes out 2 pistols and just unloads on the guys in front of him. That's how he gets the kill. If you would notice, Ethan Hunt is holding the pistols weirdly downward the entire time. Where like they're up and they're actually like at like his forehead's height, but he's pointing them down a little bit. So it's like they're up a little bit, but they have that downward trajectory. There's just something about that angle that John Woo loves. And it looks so cool. The next time you watch MI2, man, just pay attention for that. It's there.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched MI2 since watching a Hong Kong John Woo. Because I've only seen 3 John Woo films, and that is Hard Boiled, The Killer, and Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
I'm very lacking. But like I already feel like I would like Mission Impossible 2 more than I already do, just for the fact that I know, okay, you just sent the shot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that part. Yeah.
Yep.
I've always thought, I was like, that's so cool. I've seen the movie so many times. I probably have thought about that where I'm like, that's not where it should be. But like, it doesn't matter because it's freaking cool. Because it's better placed in the frame because you need the entire, like, the what's it called? When like the flash of the gun, when like the bullet fires out.
The muzzle flash. Yeah.
Muzzle flash, yeah. You want the whole muzzle flash in there because cool. Exactly. You don't want the muzzle flash to be cut off by the top of the frame. So like every single little thing in an action scene in a John Woo film is so carefully coordinated that even when it's like looks messy, it's because it's intentional. It's supposed to look messy.
Yeah. No, we've said it before, but you can tell Chad Stahelski watched The Killer 1,000 times.
And Hard Boiled and like I need to watch more John Woo Hong Kong films because both of them I'm like, oh.
But mostly The Killer.
Mostly The Killer. Yeah. I would say. I also think that like the Dragon's Breath scene is in John Wick 4 is very much the hospital scene.
Yeah, and Hard Boiled.
From Hard Boiled, where there's like just, I mean, they do it in The Killer too, but like how you like the shotguns just explode on people.
Well, yeah.
Like that's not realistic, but it doesn't matter. No. But in John Wick, where they're all about, I mean, it's not John Wick's not realistic, but a bit more. It's like, oh, we have these bullets that do explode and spark out an impact. So it's just like they found a way to do it like in universe in the way they do it. That's still equally cool. Like, do you need to explain why that happens? No, like people would just be like, "Oh, that's sick."
That's.
But it's just like they found a real way to do it, and I think
that's just Chad Stahelski understanding modern American audiences. You know how a lot of sticklers out there who want at least like some
freaking dorks.
Yeah, who want at least like some nugget of an explanation for why things are the way they are. You know.
Dude, just shut up and eat your popcorn.
Right.
You are literally ascending into heaven.
We're like I said.
Staircase.
These films are inspired mostly by Hong Kong kung fu films, and Hong Kong kung fu films, like you said with the other stuff, like people fly, people jump 6 feet in the air and throw kicks. It's like it's ridiculous. So no one was really going into these expecting realism. Obviously, with John Wick, it's a little different these days, but
John Wick blends it so nice, where it's like it feels real. Like they have all these scenes like breaking down what gun he's. Well, it's like situation, and he has like all this stuff, but then it's like. He's just doing gun fu. So it's like that's like that fighting style. I love in the fourth one like how everyone bulletproof suits. They're just like holding up their suit like a cloak.
Oh,
it's like that's not real like that. But but they provided an explanation where it's like it's plausible. Whereas like in a Wuxia film or like a John Woo film where it's just like no, they just do that and it's awesome. They like there's no mention of it. Like no one's like whoa, your gun just shot flames along with your bullets. Nobody does that. It just happens, and it's awesome.
Like in Hard Boiled, when I think Chow Yun-fat somehow like dives like upwards, because obviously he's
he like fully breaks gravity.
He's jumping off a springboard, obviously, but like you can't see it. But like he's just like leaping upwards and like somehow like diving up into the sky, and it's like how on earth is he doing?
Or like the dirt bikes and like the warehouse scene in Hard Boiled, they're like flying, like they're doing jumps off of nothing.
Totally.
Or they're like doing jumps way higher than should be humanly possible. The jumps that they are doing. It's
All right, I think we got a pretty awesome conversation about The Killer, and I'm happy with it. We spent 45 minutes on each movie.
Let's go.
Actually, we only spent 30 minutes on The Killer. I apologize, but either way, we did good. Okay. We did real well. We'll be back soon. I promise you, we won't take a multi-month break this time. We have no idea what we're going to do next, but we're going to figure it out. I had a good time, Colin. How about you?
That was great. I loved talking about both those films. They are so good. We chose two great. We usually do end up choosing good. This is extra. Both of these were
This
So good.
might have been our best nonsense double feature picks yet.
It's yeah, so good.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a good one.
Peace.